Hello everyone, this is Muted and Nuts, and today we'll be continuing our beginner-friendly Road to OSCP video series. Today we'll be looking at another HackTheBox machine, that is Active. Active is based on Windows and the difficulty is easy, so let's just get started. So another thing I want to mention is that this list HackTheBox OSCP like VMs created by TJ Null, so that keeps getting updated very frequently, and we have this active box over here which is more challenging than OSCP. So my goal is to obviously do all the boxes present over here, and I think these boxes are enough, but it's always good to do multiple boxes from here because you get to learn more, and few of the boxes I've already done, and we'll look into that later. But yeah, for now obviously we have active windows present over here, so let's just do that and let's just get started. So first thing what I always do is I run an auto recon scan. If you guys don't know what auto recon is a basic enumeration tool. So in short, it's going to do a few nmap scans at first, and it's going to do additional scans on them. So suppose it finds like port 445 running SMB which is open, so it's going to do additional scans on them to list shares or something like that. It's going to enumerate things for you, and 95% of the time it works really great, but at times you have to manually enumerate things further. So it's like, always don't rely on a automated scanner, try to manually do things and know as well. Sometimes if the scanner does not work, so obviously you got to know things. It's basically an enumeration tool, so you can use it for SCP as well, and we'll be using this, and this is present on GitHub, so if you guys want you can get it from there. So in order to run this particular auto recon file, you'll have to give the Python 3 over here, and I'll be giving sudo over here because I want to run this autorecon.py file as root. So I'll be giving sudo over here because I'm running the box as Kali. I'm not running it as root. So I'll be giving sudo over here. I'll be giving the target IP address that is 10.10.10.100 in the case of active. And I'll be giving the O switch over here, that is the directory where I want to save the scan result. Okay, so I did already execute the scan. I'm not going to do it again. It takes quite some time. So let's just look at the scan result. So first thing what we look at is the full TCP nmap scan. This is what I always look at, and we see that there are multiple ports over here. So obviously if there is new to Windows boxes, or new in particular, so you will see that okay, there are so many ports over here. I have to probably enumerate things like across all the ports. So let's try to avoid that. We can go step by step. We see DNS over here, right? Port 53. So we can try to enumerate that and see if we get some additional information. Okay, we do not have a HTTP port over here. Obviously we have this thing present over here, but this is like it's not a web server. I don't think any web server is running over here. Okay, so these are the ports mentioned over here. There are multiple MSRPC ports, and I know it may look a bit confusing at first since multiple ports are open, but let's see what we can do. We have LDAP over here as well, that is lightweight active directory over here, and also we have SMB present over here as well. Obviously it does not list it, but 445 is usually SMB, so we have that over here. We have NetBIOS over here. So in short, we can probably just try to enumerate things, okay, based on this. So we can go step by step. So first thing in Windows boxes, whenever I see a SMB, obviously I try to check out SMB first, and also if there's port 80, obviously I'll check out SMB if I can get access, and then go to port 80 or something like that. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to look at port 445 first. It's not that that I already know that something is present over there. It's just that natural thing that I'll check out SMB, and then I'll check out port 80, and then probably go to DNS, something like that. Okay, so since port 80 is not present over here, we have SMB present, so let's just look at that. So we'll look at the scan result. We get multiple scan results over here. Since there are multiple ports open, we'll get multiple scan results. And sometimes it may look confusing for some people, but I always prefer to have more scans and more enumeration than, missing out on something. So AutoRecon does a good job over here. And as I just mentioned that if we have port 445 open, we can, AutoRecon will actually do enumeration for you for 445 port over there. So now we see we have anonymous login successful over here, and the scan result is like smb client.txt. We get this users, this multiple things. We obviously do not get that what all shares we have read access, but we get the list of things over. That means anonymous login is successful. So we can just try and see if we can enumerate things further. So if we check SMB map, it says error over here. For some reason, we get an error. SMB map contents over here, we get something. Okay, we get multiple things present over here. Okay, so let's just look into it. So since we have multiple files present, maybe probably there is something interesting over here, right? If this also we did not have access over here, and if we did not have access anything over here, okay, so probably I'll just go move on. I'll be like, okay, nothing, we did not find anything, so let's just go to port 80 or some other port. Obviously port 80 is not present over here, but I'm just saying. Okay, then we have SMB map share permissions, and we see over here that we obviously have permission for replication read only. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll just try to enumerate SMB first and see if we get something, or else we'll try to enumerate other things and see if we get. Okay, so we have SMB map over here, and when I first do the box, obviously I try to enumerate multiple things. If I don't get, I get stuck, I try to move on, but let's just look at SMB for now. So for SMB, okay, and we have two tools over here. We have SMB client and we have SMB map. So we can use either of these tools. So first we'll look at SMB client. So in order to list the shares, we can use SMB client. That's a tool which is installed and pre-built, and it's already present in Kali Linux 2020. I don't know about the previous versions, but yes, it is present in 2020. So I'll be using that SMB client, and I'll be giving these forward slashes over here. You do not have to give the backward slashes because you're giving in Linux, so you can give the forward slashes. It will translate to the backward slash, so that the tool will do it for you. So we'll be entering the target IP address, that is 10.10.10.100, and also before this we have to enter the L switch, that is the list shares. So that is a capital L, and we'll see if we get something over here. And it will ask for a password. Just hit enter, don't enter anything. So that means you have anonymous login successful, right? We did not enter any username, we did not enter any password, but we got access to few of the shares over here. Okay, so these are the shares present. So obviously you can try to copy it and paste it in the cherry tree over here, but let's just look into it further if we have read access. So what we'll try to do, we'll use SMB map now. So in SMB, obviously I use both of these because SMB client is useful when you try to browse directories, like go back and forth. But SMB map is going to list down all the shares for you. So I just want to show SMB map over here. So we can use SMB map, and also we can use the U switch, and we'll probably enter guest for now just to show you all something. And also we can enter the H for the host name, host IP address, that is 10.10.10.100. So if you hit enter, it will say authentication error, and in some boxes you have to actually enter guest over here. Okay, or probably you can leave it blank, but if you leave it blank as well, I think it will. Okay, so if we leave it blank, so we can get access to it, and probably we can have that user done, the login done, and the session can be actually, the shares can be actually displayed over here. So in short, we removed this guest, we added this blank space, but some boxes, if we leave it blank, right? So that's not going to help. So in short, we got something over here, we add the shares. If that also does not work, I guess you can just remove this U switch over here and try it. Like, these are the multiple ways you can probably try to do the box. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work. So yeah. So we got these shares present over here. So obviously we have read-only access. Over here the permissions are mentioned as well. We have read-only access to this replication directory over here. Okay, so the same was seen over here in the share permissions. We have read-only access, right? And also in list shares, list contents, we have this replication directory, trying to enumerate things inside. Okay, so it may look a bit confusing. So let's see what we can do. In SMB map, the thing what I like is we can, try to do a recurse scan, so recursively. So that means if we add the R switch over here, that's a capital R. So in short, it's going to recurse for each things present inside this replication directory. So suppose this is the parent directory, right? Like suppose you consider this as active maybe. Okay, replication is active, just for example. It's going to check for this directory, then it's going to check for this directory, it's going to check for all the files. So that's what it's going to do with this recurse. Let's just see what it does. So also one more thing which I completely missed is this active HTB. That's a domain name which we find in our full TCP nmap scan as well. Okay, so if you look at this active directory over here, we get the domain name. So it's not very easy to find the domain name at first. Sometimes, most of the time, you have to actually enumerate things to find the domain name. But over here, it's displayed in the full TCP nmap scan. So this is going to be useful. Multiple times it's useful, right? So we have this domain name present over here. We get it over here as well, and this SMB map thing may take some time to actually load because it's going to recursively check for things and list down the directories. So let's just wait for a while. And if we look at all the MS RPC scans over here, we just get a normal Windows RPC over here, nothing interesting. Okay, so all these ports which are present. So obviously it looks scary at first, like, oh, so many ports. Okay, the scan is done, SMB scan is done. We get multiple directories and files present over here in the replication directory. Okay, we can see, you can either go to SMB client, log in into this replication directory and try to get all the files, or you can check for any file over here and try to get. So one important thing, I think this came in the recent update in SMB map, is that if you look at this particular directory, okay, so it says preferences and it says groups over here. So in short, there is like, okay, only this directory is present groups and there are no subdirectories or like, files present inside this directory. It looks like that. But the thing is, SMB map by default now, it's going to restrict you to 5 directories only. Okay, so probably it went over here, right? So probably it checked out for 5 directories, I guess, but I'm not sure here. It looks more than 5. But let's just look into it. There's a thing called depth. Okay, so let's just look into it. SMB map help. So it says depth over here. Traverse a directory tree to a specific depth. So that is default is 5. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll just try to give probably 10 or something like that. And let's just see how the output changes. Okay, so we just have groups over here and then we have this other directory, okay, which is that GPT INI or something. So let's just see if we get something present between that. So obviously this is not the, like, it's like first time I'm doing the box and I noticed this thing, like it's something, because I cannot guess, right, what it is. I just want to show you all that because this thing exists in SMB map. So we'll be using R and as well as we'll be using the depth switch over here and we'll be giving 10. It may take some time over here. And if any tools which are present, right, so if you don't know how to use it, because sometimes I obviously have my Excel sheet present and I have all the commands present over there and how to use them and all these things, but sometimes if I quickly want to just run some tool, I just run it and use help. So you get examples over here as well. So this is one like good thing to have. So you can just literally modify this IP on this work group over your password and user and everything, and you can probably just run the command. So it's a good thing to always have and to do it. But better thing is to have your own Excel sheet or something. Okay, so okay, in short, we just did the recurse and now we added the depth that was 10, right? So if we see over here, we between groups and this gpt.ini, we have this groups XML file. Okay, so in short, I wanted to show you all about this depth thing. Let's just ignore this groups XML file for now. So I just wanted to show that depth thing, which is I think included recently, because when I updated this box to Kali 2020.3, so this groups the SMB map was not working for some reason. So I had to update it and probably it came with that. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is one thing to know. And if you get stuck, sometimes try to enumerate or try to read this help page. Okay, what we'll try to do is SMB map is good. It listed out things. We can even get things from there, download it. But I want to show you all things in SMB client now. So let's just use the SMB client. Okay, we don't want to list anything now. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to have this IP address over here. Then we'll give replication, okay, as it is, capital R and replication. That way, if sometimes few shares have like a $sign over here, so you can give that. So just leave this aside and we'll be giving the I switch for IP address, that is 10.10.10.100, and it will ask you for a password. and if you hit enter, it says anonymous login successful. Another thing what I want to show is, if you don't want to add this password over here, right, what we can do is we can just use the end switch over here, I guess. It will not ask, it will not prompt for a password. Okay, so we do dir, we have this active HTTP, okay, and we saw in SMB map there were like multiple files present over there, right? And I do not want to go, it looks a bit, for me personally, I don't know if you guys prefer working completely on the command line, browsing directories and everything for checking out things. If you all prefer it on the command line, that's good. You can do it from here itself. But I prefer, if we have some loot data, right? Loot as in we are getting something from the target machine. I prefer to look into it, analyze it on the, terminal, sorry, not terminal, but this folders present over here. Okay, so what we'll try to do is, before that, let's just go back. I'll just go to the loot directory. So the loot directory, obviously AutoRecon does, it actually creates 4 directories over here: exploit, loot, report, and scan. So this is like, OSCP ready kind of thing. It's so we have scans over here. We have all the scans result over here. I do GoBuster scans over here itself, and we have this loot directory. So let's just try to place it over here. Okay, if you're trying to get files from there, from this active HTTP, let's try to place it over here. So what we'll try to do is we'll run SMB client again now. We do dir, we have active HTTP over here. What we'll try to do is we'll try to turn recurse on. So if we turn recurse on, the reason is, I think it should be small caps, recurse on. Okay, and we do prompt off. So what this will do is recurse on, that means it's going to take this active HTTP and it's going to take the subdirectories and files inside it. Okay, so it's going to get all the files. So we'll just look into, we do prompt off, and now we do mget all. So another thing, if you all want to look out for the commands over here, you can do help, and these commands will already be present, I guess. So if we have recurse, we have recurse over here, we have prompt over here as well. It's prompt is present over here, and also we'll have mget. So that means you get all the files present. So we'll just do mget and this asterisk over here. It means all the files we have to get it. So if you do mget active.htp, it will probably get one file, this file. So if you do all of these, and we have recurse on now, so it's going to get all the files, and the prompt is off. Means every file which we download, right, will get a prompt. Do you want to download it? Yes, no, that way. So that means we put the prompt off, so we are going to get the entire content. So let's just press enter. It may take some time, I guess, to completely download all the data, so let's just wait for it. Getting file. Otherwise, each and every now, if this prompt was by default on, it will ask you, do you want to download this file? You'll be like, yes. And since the recurse is on now, we are getting the files and subdirectories and subfile, like, files present inside these particular directories. Otherwise, we would only get the parent directory. Okay, so I think it's done over here. So what we'll try to do is we'll go to the loot directory. We have this active.htb. Let's just open it. Obviously, when I first do the box, I try and check out multiple directories and see if everything is present over here. Okay, but we have this GPT ini file, nothing interesting. We have machine, Microsoft. Okay, so this, I think you can open it from mousepad. Not sure if it gives information. But yeah, obviously I try to enumerate multiple things present over here when I first do the box. It's not that, I see it, I'm like, okay, tunnel vision that, hey, I got this is the one. So I try to look at multiple things, and if we look in this particular directory, okay, we go back, we go to policies, we go to this directory over here, we have machines. So, and we have group policy over here, okay, so GPP, so GPO, like group policy object, So that means that's a different thing, we can look into it later. So we go to preferences, we go to groups, we have an XML file. Obviously this is that XML file which I was talking about earlier as well. And obviously it did not look interesting over here because I just wanted to, play like, hey, I don't care about this file. But I just wanted to show that depth thing over here, that's why I use this example of groups XML. Okay, so what we'll try to do is, let's just go to groups XML. we get an XML file, and always XML files will have some or the other information. Not always, but most of the time it has information like configuration details. We have seen in Linux boxes as well. We have like username, passwords present over there, so it's a config file, like you can get multiple things present. So over here also, if we look at it, we have an XML file and we get some username over here. Okay, so we have active HTTP. This is how you have the username present in Active Directory boxes. So obviously Active Directory is present, we saw LDAP present over there, right? So what we'll try to do is we can just enter over here potential usernames. Why potential? Because I'm not sure that this is actually the username until unless I validate it, right? So we have a potential username over here, SVC TGS. So SVC usually stands for like service account, they name it that way, SVC. Okay, so let's just go to groups. Okay, groups XML, and we have this SVC TGS. We have something like changed, probably something was changed over here. Let's just look into it further. We get something like new name something, and we get a C password present over here. Username is SVC TGS, and we get some password over here, C password. So obviously if you want, you can just try this password out. Now, I don't think the password is going to be so long, but you can try it out. But this looks like an encrypted password, not even a hash password. It looks like an encrypted password. For some reason this is acting very funny over here, but we'll just copy it and we can just have the password present over here probably. Yeah, so this looks like an encrypted password, right? It does not look like an hash as well, because this is just my looking. If I look at it, I see something like encrypted password. We have a username over here, we have a password. You can try this password over here, but let's just see what we can do with this. So since this file says C password over here, right, what we'll try to do is let's just try to Google and see what C password means. So first time when I did the box, I did the exact same thing. I just did C password and we come across multiple articles over here. So we can look into these things over here, and we have this group policy preferences. So that's what GPP. So in short, it says like, this is for group policy objects. When you have to, if you read over here, allows domain admins to create and deploy across domain local users and local administrator accounts. So in order to implement group policy objects into local users or something, so that's where this particular credential or comes in place. Okay, so when you see, if you don't know GPO, you can try to Google it, but big organizations, all the big companies, they need to have a group policy set. Okay, so suppose if an organization has like around 100 or 1000 employees, so if you want to have the USB disabled of all these employees, because you can probably try to get out data or something, or try to install a game, just for example, let's just keep it simple, let's just try to put a game or try to run that game. So obviously you need to disable that USB drive, right? USB port. So that means you will set up a group policy object. You will not go and set it up in each and every PC. What you'll try to do is, obviously you want to be smart over here. So you will try to set up create a group policy object, and then later on you're going to push it to all the systems, that is all the 1000 systems. So you made changes in one, like you created a policy object and you pushed it out to all the systems. So this is just a small thing. I just wanted to know what GPO is, and group policy comes in picture. Okay, so in short, we have these, it looks like you can manually exploit the C password. Okay, so this is the same file which we saw. If I try to zoom in, I don't think it's okay. It's very clear, I guess, now. So this is what it looks like, something, user, and we got the C password, we got the username twice. So this is what our file actually looks like as well. So if you look into it, so this is what a file looks like, groups something, okay, CL, SID, and multiple things present. So obviously the formatting over here, it's like little different, but this is what it looks like. So obviously we have the similar thing over, we have a password, and it says like, we can probably try to decrypt this value. Why decryption? Because this is an encrypted password. So one thing, obviously I hope you guys are clear, and most of you guys may already be knowing that encryption and hashing are two different things. When you hash it, it's irreversible, so you cannot get back. It's like some mathematical formulas are applied to it and you cannot get the actual content, like the start content. Obviously we crack hashes because we try to compute different passwords hashes, and whichever matches, so that's the password that way. But encryption, there's a key involved over there. So you have a key, you give the key, and after that your encrypted message will become plain text. Okay, so this is what it works. And obviously in order to decrypt it, it looks like Microsoft had released, okay, the public key. Okay, so over here it mentioned that public key is published by Microsoft, and in since this is an encrypted message, obviously this is symmetric encryption. But let's not get into that asymmetric symmetric. But obviously just consider key. Forget the public key over here. Just say key was published by Microsoft. So in short, Microsoft published that key. I think it's AES encryption is used over here, but I don't know for what they released it. But yeah, so in short, we can try to decrypt this password. So we can use this tool over here. I think I use this for the first time. So let's just try this. This is like a Ruby tool, and I don't think we require Metasploit for that. So let's just try to check if this works. Let's just go to our exploit directory. Decrypt RB, paste it, and obviously the encrypted data we have to supply it over here. Obviously whenever you see a exploit or something, try to read it and see if we get some information, right? So I don't think we have to change anything over the padding and all. Let it be as it is. We have this thing over here, we have to change that. Sorry. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to change this encrypted data, and I think we have to go back to that file. My bad. Okay, we had obviously saved it over here. So let's just try to copy it and paste it over here. Paste it and we get this thing. Okay, so obviously we could try to run it with this itself first and see if it works. So what we'll try to do is we'll just, I don't think we require this anymore since we got all the files present from the drive which we had read access. If there were multiple drives, I would go and check out for those shares as well if I get anything. So let's just go back to the exploit directory. We see that decrypt file present. Let's give chmod. We can give 7 over here and 4. 7 is read write execute, so that is 4 plus 2 plus 1. So this is 4, this is 2, this is 1. So total will be 7. So this is the first owner, that is Kali. This is the second, that is the group Kali. So that's, I'll just give read. And also the third one, that is others. So anybody else who wants to access this file, any other user, so we'll be having read write access only. So it's obviously better to give read write execute to only the first user which you're using, just to be safe. So we have chmod 777. We can give, sorry, 744, my bad. RB. So now if we see, we give 7, right? So we give execute also over here. So decrypt RB can be running. We'll be using Ruby. We'll be using decrypt and RB. And it says some error over here. It says key must be 32 bytes. For some reason, I don't know. Key was present over here, but it looks like it is not formatted properly. So that's why just use this. Obviously don't be afraid that this is wrong or something, it's not working. Let's just try it again. And we got the password over here. Okay, there's some error over here which is coming. It's like a warning, not an error, but it says local 4 password. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to copy our encrypted data over here, copy it and paste it over here. Since Microsoft had already released the key, right? So this is what's present over here. So yeah, just paste it, and it says we get a password which says GPP standing strong 2K18. Okay, so let's just try to paste it. Can try to paste it over here, and probably we have this username and password present over here. What we'll try to do is whenever in Windows boxes we can actually, try in Linux boxes. If we get a credential, we check it usually in SSH, right? Most of the boxes, I think almost all the boxes have SSH. So we can check it in SSH. But in Windows boxes, you have WSMAN, right? But I don't think it's there in this box. But sorry, what we can do is we can play it easy. We can use SMB map because it uses users authentication. And if you guys don't know, SMB, obviously it's a network drive which the target machine is hosting. That's why we could list all the contents earlier. So if we look at SMB map, so I don't want to do this recurse thing now. So let's just do the anonymous login thing, and because it will take time, right, the recurse thing. So I'll just look into it. We have this IP, name, active, HTTP. So we have replication read only over here, right? For now, this is the anonymous login, okay? What we'll try to do is, we'll try to supply username, that is SVC TGS. So this is the domain name. I think we can give that as well, but let's just try with SVC TGS itself. And we'll be giving the password, that is GPP standing strong. Let's hit enter. It says working on it. So probably authentication was done, but we'll list down the shares now. So I think these creds are okay. That means they can be used. So now if we see, we get access to multiple shares over here. Not one, but multiple shares. So see the difference over here. We are anonymous login over here. We get read only on this replication directory. Over here we have read only to 4 directories over here. Okay, sorry, not directories, my bad, the shares. 4 shares over here. So this is how that means. And first thing is that obviously we logged in, right? So that means these creds are actually valid. So they are successful. Okay, what we'll try to do is, next thing, we can just try to list down the files. So we can use recurse. We can use depth as well, and to see, or we can just go using SMB client and try to manually browse. I use both of these, SMB map, SMB client, both of these for SMB enumeration. It's taking some time. Yeah, I think there are like 4 shares to be listed, so probably it may take some time. Okay, another thing is, till this thing goes on and carries on, so what we'll try to do is, we can even use GPP decrypt, I guess. That's a tool in Kali Linux, so we can use that, okay, and we can decrypt the data. I think it's present already in Linux, but if it's not present, probably you can install it. C password decrypt. If you do that, we get this GPP decrypt thing, okay. So GPP encrypted string. So this is another way you can decrypt that password. So you have to just give GPP decrypt and give the encrypted string. So let's just do that and see if it works. So it did work. So it's like the same thing almost, and it says GPP is still standing strong, 2K18. I'll just close this. For some reason it's taking some time over here. Just wait, I guess. Okay, let's just do one thing. Let's just close it, I guess. It's taking some time. Or what we can do is start SMB client over here. SMB client, we get the share name 10.10.10.100, and we can just check out the users share, because obviously you can go, first thing when I do the box, I try to enumerate all the shares over here. It's not that I'm like, oh, you know what, something interesting is present in this share. It's not that way. I enumerate all the shares because probably I require some additional information from those shares. But let's just look at the users directory now. Make sure when you do the box first time, go step by step. And obviously users looks interesting, right? You have some users, we have read only, probably there'll be something over there. So let's just do that, users, and we can give the use switch over here, and we'll be given the password and the ID. So that is SVC Okay, this thing is done. So let's just keep that SMB client on hold for now. Just close this probably. And if we see over here, we get multiple things. Okay, so I just don't want to look into all those things present over here. We get like my documents, everything, desktop, cookies, app data, users default. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we just look into this SVC TGS desktop directory, which is in the end, and we see some user flag over here, and it is readable as well. So we can just try to get it. Okay, and if you can check it SMB client, I just want to show you all SMB client as well, how we can get it probably. We can use SMB client, we can give 10.10.10.100, and we can probably give the use switch, and we'll be giving SVC TGS, and we have to give this and we have to write this in a different way because SMB client is different. So make sure you add all these things in a cheat sheet so that you can refer to it later, the commands. You just have to modify the username, password, and everything, so everything is ready for you. So we add I switch over here, 10.10.10.100. Okay, my bad, we had to give the shares, that is users, my bad. So we get it over here, and if we do dir, we get like the users directory. Obviously, let's just look at administrator, it looks interesting. So it says access denied because obviously we do not have access. So what we'll do is we'll just stick to SVC TGS dir. We have desktop, we go over there, desktop dir, and you can get this particular file. So I think you can use get user.txt. Yeah, so we did get this file, and if we look into this exploit directory, we have this user.txt file over here. So in short, we got the user.txt file. So now what we'll try to do is I'm not going to open it, but this is what we got, and we'll just try and enumerate further. So we have the username, we have the password, and let's just look into it in a different way. So what we'll try to do, we'll just exit it, and also we'll be looking at other ports which were open, right? So obviously we have multiple ports present over here. Since we have a username and password, if we had WSMAN present, it's like for 5985 port, I guess. But that was not the case, and I think I tried over here as well in HTTP ports, which I saw. I tried over here as well. RPC, not over here, yeah. I tried it in this port to just check if that particular thing worked, like remote Windows management, but it did not work. So in short, what we'll try to do is we have a username and password, and what else can we do since we have a username and password? We can just try, since we have LDAP present over here, we can just try to get few of the AD users. Okay, so in Windows boxes, first thing is Impacket is your best friend. It has multiple tools. You have like SMB map, I guess, from Impacket, or SMB client, either of these. So, and then you have your get AD users, then you have your SMB server, Impacket SMB server, which you can host. Then you have I think get users SPN, get NPU users. So there are multiple Impacket tools which you can use. Okay, so WMI exec. Okay, so Impacket is your best friend for Windows, I guess. There will be other tools which are more used, but I think I have used Impacket a lot. So another thing is we can use the get AD users tool in order to get the domain users. Okay, let's just try to do that. First, let's just locate get AD users. Okay, so we have this thing present over here, user local bin. I think we can use this as well. Let's just use this. Let's just hit enter, and we see the usage over here. So in short, we need to enter the domain, username, password over here first because target is mentioned, and I think you have to enter it over here, target, right? So let's just do that. We'll enter target. We can enter it in the end as well. So let's just go according to this. Let's just see so that it looks easy. We'll enter the DC IP address. You need to enter this. This is very important over here because that's your IP address, target IP address in short. So DC IP 10.10.10.100. Then we'll enter the target, and if we look over here, the target means domain plus the username and password. So now we have also we can give this all switch over here. So let's just give all before DC. My bad. So we give all over here because all it says return all users including those with no email address and disable accounts. So this means this is going to return all the users present in that domain. Okay, so that's what it's going to happen, and we'll just look at the target now. So domain first, so we'll be giving active.htb. So this domain we saw earlier as well, and the name over here as well, right? And we have svc so let's just copy that domain and give the forward slash over here because this tool requires it this way. So let's just give it that way itself, and we'll be given the password after username. So the password which we decrypted is this. Let's just hit enter and see if we get something. We get multiple users over here. Okay, we get guest, we have KRBTG. Okay, so it's for Kerberoasting ticket, and we have svc we have administrator over here. Password last set was like almost the same day for all these users, and the time was different, but yeah, nothing much, nothing useful over here. So we have administrator over here, we have this 2018 date, so we have, that means obviously we know administrator is present. It's going to be present many what do you say, boxes, obviously almost all the boxes. But yeah, so we get the 80 users over here. What we can do next is we can see, since this is a service account, right? So there are multiple things which we can do. So we obviously, when I was doing the box for the first time, I was like thinking, okay, what would be the next thing? We have a username, we have the credential, what could be next? What could be next? So I was like, probably let's just try if we can get some, SPN users, so service principal name users. Okay, so let's just see if that works. So if there are any users which have the service principal name, if service principal name is set for any of these users over here, so we can try and do a attack called Kerberoasting. Okay, so let's just try and look into it first. So before that, you need another impacket tool. So in this box, while doing this box, we use multiple impacket tools, right? So that's why impacket is very useful. So we can do, I think it's SPN, locate SPN. So get users SPN. So we have this user bin impacket get users SPN. So let's just use this tool. I think this does the same thing, but this is like, in the bin it's already present. So let's just use that. If we use that, we can just hit enter, I guess. So it says the usage over here and the target domain, request, username. So in short, if we want to know, since we got all the 80 users in, right, what I'll try to do is I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. My bad. So we have these 4 users. Now we want to know which all users have a SPN name present with them. Okay, so I'll try to do that. So what I'll try to do is I'll just use impacket get users SPN, and obviously I'll go according to the usage over here, and it mentions the target as well. So target, you have to enter this domain username password, so which we entered earlier, I guess, over here. Let's just copy this entire thing. Okay, so we copied it from first. That's the same thing, domain, username and password, so don't get confused. So another thing what we have to do is we can use the, we have to give the DC IP, that is DC IP 10.10.10.100. Okay, and also I think that's it. I don't think we have to give anything else. Let's just hit enter. Okay, so now we just did enter. Okay, we enter the DC IP, that is this, and we enter this target as well. So in short, we get something like service principal name is set for the administrator user. So active CIFS is set with this particular name. So in short, we have this service principal name set. So probably we can try to do a Kerberoasting attack over here. And it says member of these things over here, not required anything. So this particular user over here, svc can perform this Kerberoasting attack because service name principal is present over here. Okay, and this svc account, it's not necessary that it has to have some special permission. It can have any permission over there and it can do this Kerberoasting attack. So since we have active CIFS 445 present over here, the service name for this administrator user. This is the username, right? Administrator. Since we did get users SPN, so whoever has that SPN name set, service principal name, now if we see, we have administrator over here, right? And in cherry tree we had like few other users as well. I know we did not have much, but like we had few users, we had SVC as well, but we have administrator over here only in this SPN thing. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to attack using Kerberoasting. So first we'll just try to look at the attack and then see how it is actually going to work. So let's just use this same command again, but if we look at the usage over here, it says request. So if we do request over here, we'll probably get something which I'll let you all know. Like I'll just tell you all in something. Let's just see what happens. So if you do request, it says obviously Kerberos session error KRB APP something clock skew. Sorry, my bad. Clock skew too great. So in short, it's telling you that the time of your machine, attack machine, and the target machine is not matching. The difference is too great. Okay, so what we'll try to do is, this is where that important thing of that UDP scan comes in picture, and this was the first box, I guess, where that UDP scan actually helped me. You know, I was running since root since so many boxes, but this particular box actually helped me, and this is where it was important for me. So what we'll try to do is, maybe my system time is not in sync with the target machine. Okay, so that's why this thing Kerberos session thing is not happening, because obviously you need to have the same time most of the time in order to get the ticket. Okay, so obviously there are different time zones, right? Multiple people may be aware there are different time zones. My attack machine time zone may be different than the target machine. So that this thing is saying that, hey, you know what, the difference can be maybe plus minus 5-10 seconds something, I guess, but you need to match my target machine's time, then only I can initiate that session. Okay, so the time should be same. So what we'll try to do is we'll just look into this. Just consider this time as UTC. Okay, UTC plus 100. Okay, we'll just consider this. Okay, so that means UTC plus 1 hour. And also, I think the format is right. If it's not right, please ignore it. But just consider it UTC plus 1 hour, okay, in short. And then what we can do is we can have another thing which says UTC 2. So that means it's higher by 200 hours. I think it's 0 over here, I guess. Not 200 hours, my bad, sorry. It's 2 hours. Yeah. So it says like, hey, I'm ahead of you, your attack machine, by 1 hour. You are behind 1 hour. So the time has to be in the same place. So now if you're trying to do a Kerberos session, so this guy is sending a request like, hey, Kerberos session, UTC is like, you know what, the time does not match, so I cannot do this session. So I cannot do this session over here. Okay, so it says this error, okay, clock error over here, too great. So what we'll try to do is, we'll just look at the UDP scan, okay. So we saw the full TCP nmap scan. This is what I do, and sometimes when the scan is running, I just check the quick TCP nmap scan. But another scan which is very important over here is the top UDP scan, which I run it as root. So that's why I give that root command over here, so that it runs that root. And if we see over here, we have a port that is open, that is NTP. So if you guys don't know what NTP is Network Time Protocol. Okay, so what does that do? That is, if you have that protocol present, that NTP is running, in an organization, there'll be like hundreds of servers. How do you make sure that the time is synchronized with all the servers? Obviously, there is like domain time is present, right? Local time. But sometimes you need to have the servers, synced up to some other time, maybe, just saying. So you need to sync up all the times, even the domain time or something is present. So you need to have the time synchronization done. Why is time synchronization done in servers? That's another thing, that obviously because you need to have the logs which are accurate. What if it happens like today it's like 5:30, okay? So if it's 5:30 now, and probably there was some attack or something done by some attacker at 5:30, but your logs are 5 minutes behind, okay? Like your time is 5 minutes behind. So it will show 5:25. So you will be checking the 5:30 logs, but you will not find anything. because what actually happened was in that 525 log, not at the 530. So it's a bit thing, but yeah, obviously time should be synchronized everywhere. So in short, this thing is telling you to synchronize time over here. That's why NTP is used. And in order to use NTP, you can probably use how to sync time with NTP Linux. You can use NTP date over here, and I don't think it is present in Kali by default. You can just install it, and you can check for Google to install it. So what we'll try to do is we'll use sudo over here. We'll be using NTP date, okay, NTP date, and the U command over here, I guess. I think you have to give the U command. I think you have to not give it. I'm not sure. Let's just try it. NTP date, and let's just give the target IP address at 10.10.10.100. This is my attack machine's password. You do not have to enter the domain password or something. I think okay. So in short, the NTP is done. Time server, offset, everything. Now what we'll try to do is we got an error over here, right? Let's just try to run this thing again, the above command. Same command, not making any different, I'm not writing anything different over here. So let's just run it. And we get something. So this looks, obviously it may look like an hash, but obviously it's not a hash because it's very long. It's in short a ticket, Kerberoasting ticket. So we can just copy it and we can just create a new file probably, and we can just have it in loot. Can create a document that is just mention ticket, or you can just mention loot or admin, something like that. Just paste it over here, the entire string which I copied earlier, right? We paste it. So this is not a hash actually, this is like a ticket, and what is happening is, why am I getting this ticket, and what this is actually you are doing, let's just delete this for now. Okay, so Kali machine, since we have this administrator user over here, okay, administrator SPN present over here. So we have this SPN thing present over here, right? What this Kali machine is doing is, this administrator SPN is present. It is asking in HackTheBox, since domain controller is present over here, we have a thing called KDC, Key Distribution Center. So we have KDC present over here. Okay, so what we are trying to do is, what this particular tool is trying to do is get users SPN. It's like Kali machine, we are trying to initiate a request. We are asking the KDC that, hey, send me a ticket so that I can use this particular service account. The administrator is running a service account, right? So probably some service is running. So I need to use that particular service or something. So you try to give me access or give me the ticket. In short, it's like you're trying to place an order, right, in McDonald's or something like that. So you'll try to raise that token or something like 100 or 120. So when your turn comes, you try to get the food. So same thing over here, that's a token which they are going to give you. So KDC will be like, hey, you know what, hold on a minute, I'll give you this token. So obviously KDC, I don't think it does any check whether you can access the service or no. I think this, and the service does it. Okay, let's just write that as well, otherwise it may get confusing. SPN, and let's just write this service name which is present, service principal name. Okay, so this active CIF, whatever service this thing is running, so okay, 445 probably, or SMB, I don't know, but it's running something. So in order to access this service, I need that ticket, right? So obviously I did the request to KDC. KDC will be like, hey, I'm sending you the ticket over here. Okay, so this is that ticket which it's sending. KDC is sending this ticket, but we are not obviously sending it back to the service account. We are getting this ticket. What is this ticket? This ticket is basic. If you see over here, this is that administrator username ticket, right? And active HTTP is obviously the box, and this is the service principal name. So this ticket is basically like maybe some string, and it is encrypted using this administrator SPN's password. Sorry, administrator account's password. So in short, if we try to decrypt this thing using John or hashcat, maybe by giving a word list, that is rockutxt, if that password is present in rockutxt, so we can get the password of the administrator. because this ticket, entire ticket, is sent by this KDC guy because KDC is in like key distribution center and in a domain controller, so it has this particular administrator's password. He knows that password, so it's going to encrypt this entire data with that admin password. It's going to send it to us, like the attack machine. Like if we don't have that present in the raw QTX, we do not know what the password is. So later on we'll try to send it to administrator, and it will check probably that if this user can use it or not, and then it will let us use it. That's another story. But it will encrypt that data so that we cannot read it entirely, but when we send it to the administrator user, he can read it. Oh, this service account can read it. Why? Because this particular person obviously knows the password in the domain controller, I guess. So it knows the password, so it can try to, what do you say, obviously validate and read it, encryption, right? So we are the middleman, we do not know. One other thing is that if you want to know more about Kerberoasting attack, there's, I guess, VB Scrub. Okay, so his video on Kerberoasting is really good, so you can go and check that out. So he explains it very in a detailed way, and in the Windows boxes, so you can understand why this attack usually happens. Main thing is obviously this service principal name is present, so that's why it happens. So okay, let's just move on and let's just go. We get this ticket, right? We can try to decrypt it using hashcat, or we can use John. I prefer John mostly because I don't think we have to give the mode over there, so it just probably uses that. Let's just see if we have that admin file. Okay, we do not have that admin file over here. I think it's present in the root directory. My bad. So let's just go over here. We'll do lsla. We have the admin file present over here. Okay. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to use sudo John, because we have to run John as sudo, and I'll be first, before that I'll locate the rockutxt. Okay, my bad. Rockutxt, that's present in Kali box, I guess. It has like a huge list of passwords, and we'll try to decrypt this particular entire thing, right? And it's going to get decrypted only if that password exists in this rockutxt file. Otherwise it's not going to decrypt, because we're not doing a brute force attack, we are trying to do some dictionary attack. Okay, so we have this locate rockutxt. We'll be using sudo John. We'll be giving the admin file where that particular ticket is present. It's not a hash, it's a ticket, so let's just call that admin so that you don't get confused. And somewhat people may consider it like a hash, but it's okay, whatever you all are comfortable with, or maybe gets going, but it gets going, sorry. So we have admin over here. We can use the word list, and we can give the word list, that is rockutxt. Let's just hit enter. It will take some time, I guess. Okay, and it's completed. So if we look over here, so we get the password, that is ticket master. Okay, so let's just try to password. We can enter over here itself, administrator, and the password is ticketmaster 1968. We can use hashcat as well, because it's good to use or know to use both of the tools, right? Usually I use John a lot, and sometimes I use hashcat. Sorry, but it's good to know about hashcat as well. So we can use hashcat, but we need to know the examples in hashcat. So probably you can use example hashes. Sorry. So this is where the hashes example comes in picture. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we can use hashcat, and we can hit enter. It says like option, or you can ask for help. You can ask for help, and it will be a huge list over here. So it may look a bit confusing, but it's quite simple. So we have to give the mode first. Okay, I don't think the usage is mentioned below. Usage. So it says options over here, but we need to give the mode, that is the hash type, the hash mode, sorry. The hash type, not mode, my bad. So we give M, and we'll look at that hash. Let's just look into it. Load file. We have something like this, KRB, something like that. So let's just copy this first thing. We can copy this entire thing. We'll just copy this thing first. Try to Control F, paste it. We get something over here. So in short, this is like, what your hash would probably look like. Not hash, but exactly that encrypted ticket. and this is what the mode is used. Okay, E type 23. So we'll use this mode 13100. So let's just use that 13100. Now we have to use the mode which we are going to use for hashcard. So over here it says like straight mode, straight as in it's going to check the rock.txt. There is brute force mode as well. We do not want to do that. We'll just use a straight mode. So we'll be giving the A switch for that. And I think on top it's mentioned the modes over here. A mode, attack mode, sorry. So let's just use that. Attack mode 0, then give the file, that is, I think we have to give the word list first. Yeah, we have to give the dictionary, the hash file first, then the dictionary. So that is this rock.txt file. And obviously our file is that admin file present. The reason why I'm showing in both the ways because you guys should know like to use either of the tools. Sometimes it is not working in some tool, it may work in some other tool. So if you do that, it takes some time, and it says that something like that. You have to write this force as well. Give the force switch. It may take some time over here, but you can see the status. I think if you press S, it will give you the status. So it will give the status, I think the latest candidate or something. I don't think the password has been cracked yet. It's taking some time, but yeah, let's just wait for it. Okay, so it looks like it has been cracked, and obviously it's going to be the same thing, ticket master, and it's a bit different on the display. Like just after the ticket, it will mention that. So we have ticket master. What we can do is, as I mentioned earlier, use SMB map for validation and see if we can use it. SMB map, we'll be giving you, and we'll be giving administrator, then we'll be giving the password, that is ticket master. Close this, I guess you do not require this. Yes. Oops, my bad. Give the H for and it says like obviously authentication is done, right? So it looks like we have administrator access over here. Waiting some time, I guess. Okay, so it's done over here, and we see that we have this multiple read-write access over here in the admin share, C share. So we can use ps exec, I guess. So I think it's ps exec. So it is going to write something on the SMB share, and you can get a shell, right? Locate ps exec. So we have multiple things over. You can use this ps exec from here. Let's just use that. Thing you have to give the entire thing again. Target over here as we saw earlier. Okay, so it looks like domain first, active HTTP, we give the username administrator, then we give the password, that is my bad, copy it. Always save credentials in cherry tree so that copy pasting becomes easier. Ticket master, you can leave the target IP as just 10.10.10.100. That's it. I don't think we have to give anything else. So it says uploading file, writing. So, and we see we have system access over here. We go back, my bad, cd users, dir. It's taking some time, it's quite slow, if you guys can see. Raster scanning. Raster scanning as in because that's how the scans happen on the images. But yeah, let's just ignore that, that's a different thing. Desktop. Root.txt file. So we get that root.txt file. Obviously, we can very well read it. We are the administrator, Another way we can do it is we can use WMI exec. So we can use locate WMI exec. We saw earlier we were system over there, right? So we can use this impacket tool WMI exec. Another impacket tool, multiple impacket tools today. So target, we can give the same thing over here what we had given earlier. So let's just try to copy this. I don't want to enter it again. Okay. VMI exec. I think this should do it. Take some time. Who am I? Administrator. So we have administrator, we have like a domain user over here. We are connected as, just one small important thing, we are connected over here as a domain user, and over here, if we did who am I, we were NT authority system. That means we were like local administrator, I guess. So NT authority system. And here we are the domain administrator over here, that is active administrator. Not domain, but the user. So over there we are the like the local system admin, I guess. So system, and over here we are administrator. Same thing, either of these you can go to users. So there's a difference, but it's almost the same thing. You have root access, administrator access. dir. Okay, got some error over here for some reason. Don't know. Administrator. dir. Some error. I don't know what that error is, but in short, we can go list the directory administrator. So that's it. So I think this was the box. I guess you can go and check out the root.txt file over here as well. Again, I think it's going to give out that error. I probably have to check that error. But with codec, okay, but in short, we have this root.txt file. We can get it, read it, and that's how we got the box. It was like an Active Directory box in the OSCP exam. Till now, the exam is not updated with Active Directory as of now. The course is updated, obviously the 2020 course, but not the exam. So it's a good practice, and you get to learn a lot of things. So this was the box. If you guys liked it, y'all can give a thumbs up and do subscribe for more upcoming videos. If y'all have any queries, y'all can drop it in the comments below. And thank you for watching the video.